Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. So I'm sharing this recipe which is a great alternative to regular mac and cheese. This is perfect for all you veggie lovers and for those who may not eat pasta or would like to cut back but still want to enjoy that good old-fashioned taste of macaroni and cheese. What you see here is everything you'll need to get started. I'll link everything in the descriptions below as well. I'm using about 5 squash, but you may need more or less depending on the size of the squash you buy or the size of the pan you plan on using. But 5 worked great for me and I was using a 12 3/4 by 9-inch pan. So you start off by cutting the squash into slices. Of course, cut and toss off the ends first. I'm slicing the squash into 1/4 to 1/2 inch slices so that the squash will keep its shape better once it's already cooked. Now make sure you pre-wash your squash before getting started. The great thing about this is that you don't have to pre-boil or pre-cook the squash at all. Okay, so once that's done, the next step is just basically stacking the larger pieces of squash on top of each other and cutting those into smaller pieces. Now you can cut them in half like I did, or if you want you can cut them in fourths if you prefer to have more pasta sized pieces, but I think the halves work just great. Okay, so here it is, all 5 squash ready to go into the pan. And I'm just going to dump all these in and spread them evenly across the entire pan. Next, I'm just pouring in 2 cans of evaporated milk, but you can use whatever type of milk you prefer, especially if you want a super healthy low-fat version of this. I just like the rich creamy flavor that comes from using evaporated milk. Now I'm just going to add some cheese in this. Now I just bought the regular store brand cheese. This is 2 cups of mild shredded cheddar cheese and 1.5 cups of sharp shredded cheddar cheese. But this is another area if you want to change this up some and add an organic cheese or low-fat cheese that you could do that. Now I'm not going to use all the cheese because some of the cheese I'm going to use for the topping. Now I'm just going to give this a slight stir. You don't necessarily have to do this particular step. Next, I'm adding 2 large eggs. I'm using the whole egg, but if you prefer not to use the yolk, then you can just use the egg whites. I've had it that way as well, and it's just as good. So now I'm just going to take the eggs and put this inside of the evaporated milk and cheese mixture. So you definitely want to use your fork and mix this up a little just to get it smoothed out. Now you just want to add about 1 teaspoon of salt into the mix. I added sea salt, but you're welcome to use table salt. Sea salt is just a healthier choice. For added cheese, I'm using an 8-ounce block of mild cheddar cheese, and that's just a store brand cheese that I picked up. I'm going to cut this in half just to give myself 2 equal sides, and then from there I'm going to cut these into smaller pieces. So what you want to have is smaller chunks, and then you want to take those smaller chunks and cut them one more time. By the time you're finished, you should have this result. I'm just going to give this one last quick stir because it's time to pour this on top of the squash. Now I'm just going to pour this over the squash and try to evenly distribute it. Now I'm just going to stir everything in because this isn't the topping. Of course, this is the mixture, and you want that cheese to go all the way to the bottom of the pan so that there's cheese everywhere throughout the whole dish. Okay, that looks pretty good now. So now I place some of the chunks of cheese on top, and you just want to put all your cheese on and stir this also into the mixture. After doing this step, this is the best time to go and preheat the oven to 375. This part is totally optional. I'm adding 4 small pieces of butter, which is about 2 tablespoons worth. Now you could add more or less butter, or you can not add that part at all. Now last but not least, I'm going to add the remainder of the cheese for the topping. And again, that's mild shredded cheddar and sharp shredded cheddar. And you just want to get that evenly across the entire pan. And you can always add more if this isn't enough. And this is where you could add other cheeses as well. But I just like the traditional macaroni and cheese flavor, so the sharp and the mild seems to give me that. Now it's time to put this in the oven. I'm putting aluminum foil on top to help it cook throughout without burning the top. You know how macaroni has a tendency to burn on top. So let this cook for about 40 minutes and then take the aluminum foil off and let it continue to cook for about 5 to 10 more minutes, just until it's lightly browned. Okay, it's ready. Just let it sit out about 5 minutes, and I just love the way this looks, how it's so similar to regular macaroni and cheese. And the cheese, you can see, has gone throughout the whole entire dish. I'm just adding a little extra sea salt to mine. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And again, I linked all the ingredients inside the descriptions.